Hey guys, welcome back. So we'll continue with the chapter 3, that is introduction to software testing. In the last video we have seen the verification definition, the process of verification, and what is a query tracking sheet. We also did an activity and we created a query tracking sheet. Okay. To watch the video, please click on the suggested link. Okay. Now we'll continue with today's section, that is verification itself. Okay, but we are going to start with the different techniques of verifications, or basically methods of verifications. Okay, so there are generally three types of techniques or three methods of verification, namely walkthrough, review, and inspection. Okay, now walkthroughs, reviews, or inspection are verification methods which prevent defects from getting propagated to the next phases. Okay, now that means whatever work product or whatever work document that you are creating have to go through this processes of walkthrough, review, and inspection. Okay, now we know that verification is to identify the defect as early as possible. So these are the techniques which are going to help us to identify the defects as early as possible. Now let us start with what walkthrough is. Okay, walkthrough is generally an informal process. Okay, now why informal? Because generally not everything is documented about walkthroughs. Okay, that means whatever question and answers are there, they are not documented. Okay, so it is called as an informal process. Okay, now how exactly walkthrough happens? Now walkthrough is initiated by the author of the document. Okay, the person who has created that document is called as the author, right? So he is the one who is going to start the walkthrough process. Okay, now the main objective of walkthrough is to provide information and gather suggestions for improvement. Okay, that is the main objective. Now how exactly walkthrough happens? So the process of walkthrough is like the author will explain the product. Okay, now let's say if I have created an SRS document. Okay, now SRS document, if a designer has created, and if it is directly sent to the developers or to the testers, they will read it, right? They will do the verification activity. But wouldn't it be better that the designer himself first explain it, what he has done or what he has written or what document he has created, what design he has created, isn't it? Yes, so that would be much better for us to understand what the design is all about. Okay, or whatever the document is all about. Okay, so that is exactly the purpose of walkthrough here, where is to gather information, okay, or provide information and gather suggestions. So the author will explain the product. Okay, now whoever is attending that walkthrough, the colleagues, okay, will come out with observation in terms of maybe defects or some suggestions or some improvements. Okay, the author will note down the relevant points and take corrective actions. Now what corrective actions he'll do? He will create a version of the document. He will update whatever improvements or suggestions given by the colleagues or the team members, and he will send the new version of that document. Okay, now this is the simple process where in industry how it happens is that generally this has to be conducted in if you are sitting in the same premises, then it is conducted in a conference room where the author would explain the product. Okay, and the colleagues, if they have any queries or suggestions, they will ask the author and he will try and explain it, whatever the design or whatever the work document is all about. But obviously we are sitting now, and especially in this lockdown situation, we are working from home, so it's difficult. Okay, also the designers may be from some different city or area, so generally what they do is that they arrange a walkthrough sessions or a conference call, okay, wherein every responsible member or the people who wants to attend that sessions are invited, and the author will explain the product on call. Okay, now that is called as a walkthrough. So he is just walking through the design or the document that he has created. Now each and every document that we create has to go through this process. Okay. Now if a designer is there, so he will give walkthrough to the developers as well as testers, because we need to understand the design. Okay. Now as a testers, we are going to create different documents like the test cases, the test scenarios. Okay. Now we will have to again give walkthroughs to the designers, so he will check whether each and every points are covered or not, so that everything is tested or not. Okay. Or you may also give the walkthrough to the developer, so he may understand what you are testing, or you may also give walkthrough to your colleagues, okay, so they understand what you are testing. Okay. So whichever document is created has to go through this walkthrough process. Okay. I hope this is clear. Okay. Now the next topic is review, and this is very important topic also from the interview point of view. Okay, people will ask you about reviews. Okay. Now review is now the formal method, okay, or it is a planned activity. Okay. Now whatever issues, whatever defects occurring in this review process are all documented. Okay, that is why it is called as a formal process. Okay. Now what is the process of review? Now we have seen walkthrough wherein the author will explain the product. Okay. Now what happens is, once the author has explained the product, he will do the improve the work product or the design, and he will send you the version document. Okay. Now it is your job to read it, right? We have to do verification, isn't it? So we will read the document, isn't it? And we will try to identify whether there are any issues or defects in that document. Okay. So basically what activity we did in the earlier video is actually a review activity. Okay. Wherein we assume that we got the design of an e-commerce site and we gone through the activity. So that process is actually a review process. Okay. Wherein whatever document you have received, you will read that document, you will try to understand the document. Once you have understood the document, automatically the defects will start coming up, and you will document those defects. You will send it back to the author, because author is going to give you the possible solution. Okay. And then once he will also again try and improve the document, and he will send a version document, and you will have to check whether each and every queries has been cleared or not. Okay. And then only you can close the issues. So this is what I was talking about, the query tracking sheet. Okay. So you have reported the issues here. The possible solution would be given by the author. Okay. And the status would be open or closed depending upon the actual status of that query. Okay. I hope you have understood the review activity. Okay. Now in the review there are different types of review again. Okay. So the first one is peer review. Okay. The second one is superior. Okay. There can also be a management review. Okay. And there can also be a customer review. Okay. Now let us see what is peer review first. Okay. Now firstly, who is a peer? Okay. Now peer is nothing but your team member, your colleague. Okay. But he is on the same designation as of you. Okay. And working on the same project. There is no point, sending whatever document you have created to some other person at the same designation, but is not from your project. Then he is not your peer. Okay. So peer is nothing but a person or a team member or a colleague who is at the same designation as of you. Okay, and working on that same particular project, who understand that project basically. Okay. Now when you have created a document and you send the document to your peer, okay, he will read the document, he will try and identify the issues, he will document those findings, and then he will send that query tracking sheet to you, okay, and you take the necessary actions wherein you may update the document, and you again send it the version document to him for re-review. Okay, so that is the process of peer review. So this entire process is called as peer review. The review is done by the peer, hence it is called as a peer review. Okay, I hope you have understood this. Right. Now, the purpose of peer review is to technically evaluate the work product, whether it is technically sound or not. Okay, so if in our case, if we are creating test scenarios, test cases, the peers may check whether you have covered all the points or not, whether all the functionalities are getting covered or not. So they are technically evaluating the product. Okay, now next is superior. So superior, again the process is same, only thing is that now the review is going to be done by the superior. Okay, now why, again we have already done peer review, but obviously if the person is on the same designation as of you, he might have the same knowledge as of you, right? So it might happen that you might have missed out on some of the issues, isn't it? So those issues can be easily identified by the superior. Okay, so he may also do the review. Okay, now you're getting this point of verification, isn't it? We are the development is not yet started, the work products are started, and we are trying to identify the issues in the work product itself. So ultimately the end product would be less defects. You cannot say that there would be no defect, but there would be less defect. You are minimizing the defects. Also the rework would be less. Okay, again the objective of the superior review is the same, that is technically evaluating the work product. Okay, now sometimes management team would also do the review to check whether you are adhering or you are following to the scope, the quality, the schedule and the budget of the project. Okay, now why budget? You'll understand the estimation process when we go through the test plan in the coming sessions. Okay, but that estimation depends upon the number of test cases that you are performing. Okay, now in our case we identify those generally it is in man-hours only. Okay, and then man-hours are converted into rupees, whatever 1 man-hour is equal to defined whatever x number of rupees or dollars. Okay, so there might be a certain budget for that particular project, and if the test cases are more, that may be out of budget. Okay, so that is the main purpose of management review, to check whether your the entire scope is covered or not. Okay, the document whether it is quality or not. Okay, whether you can cover that into the entire schedule or not, and also the budget part. Okay, and then customer review happens. Obviously he is going to just evaluate the work product, whether whatever requirements he has given, whether those entire things are covered or not. Okay, so sometimes designers may act as a customer, so you give he will also do the review part. Okay, and he will check whether you have covered all the test cases or the test scenarios or not. Okay, so I hope you have understood this review part. Okay, now let us just move to inspections. Okay, now inspections are the most formal review or most formal verification process. Okay, because it is very highly structured. Okay, it is done by trained moderators. Okay, so generally audits and everything it's called as an inspection only. Okay, during inspection the documents are prepared and checked thoroughly by the reviewers before the meeting. It involves peers to examine the product, so it may involve your peers firstly to check your product. Okay, a separate preparation is carried out during which the product is examined and defects are found. The defects found are documented in a logging list or an issue log. Okay, and then the audit team will perform a follow up. Okay, and then they will check whether each of these issues are closed. Okay, and then they will apply the exit criteria. Okay, so inspection is nothing but basically all the audits that happens in the industries. Okay, so whether you are creating any document, test cases, test design, test scenarios. Okay, everything has to go through this all this verification steps. Okay, now if you are whenever I take the live sessions, I give this activities. Okay, so whatever test cases, whatever test scenarios that you create, okay, I ask the people to interchange the sheets and do the verification activity. Okay, I ask them the first to give walkthroughs. Okay, then I ask them the peers to do the review. Okay, then I also do the review. So you are working as a you get the peer review done, you get the superior review done. Okay, then I might act as a management and then I do review as on according to that. Okay, also I act as a auditor, and then we can do the inspection as well. So in my live sessions, while doing those activities, we perform each and every activity. So you're you feel that you're actually working on a project. Okay, because we conduct all these activities. It's very important because in interviews, this is a very typical question in interviews as well. So what are the different techniques of verification? Okay, and specifically what is peer review, or have you done peer reviews? Okay, so obviously you have done peer review. Okay, because peer review is very critical verification technique. It is performed in each and every project for each and every document. I hope this verification techniques is clear. If you have liked this video, please share, subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell icon to get the notification of my next video. Thank you.